Hi there, we are using the KURETAKE GANSAI TAMBI granulating watercolours today, and they're quite interesting to play with, but they're quite unusual in that you look at the pans and you think they look all the same colours. So I've got my cold press watercolour paper and I'm just wetting all of that, and I'm just spreading some of these paints on, just going in and using all the colours and spreading them all over the page to see what happens. So I love the purple there, it's so nice, isn't it? So I'll bring it up to the page so you can see, and I'm going to let that dry. So once it's dried, I've got some watercolour pencils here, or you could use normal pencils, just draw very lightly. The watercolour pencils, when you paint next to them, they will sort of dissolve. So I'm just making these lovely round shapes on the page, and just using that same colour and filling the page full of all different shape, round kind of, they look like stones really, don't they? Just putting those all over the page and then going back to the granulating paints, and I'm just going to fill in all between those little round marks. So just painting round, and as you'll find, the watercolour pencil sort of disappears into that background when you're painting round. As I said earlier, if you haven't got watercolour pencils, just use a normal pencil. Just be really light though, you don't want any indentation where you can see it. So I've done that background, and I've decided to make on top of the stones, and I'm just putting different bands of colour on those stones using different colours. So I've got the purple KURETAKE colour there, and this one, I'm not quite sure whether this is the brown one. I think it is the brown KURETAKE paint. So I've let that layer dry. I've got some Luminaire gold paint, some gold acrylic paint, and I thought it'd be quite fun to make with this. So again, similar shapes, little bands of colour, little rounds circling the bands of colour that I've already put down, and just being random, just thinking, oh, I think I want a bit of gold here, or I want a bit of gold there. You can stand back from your picture, squint your eyes slightly, and you will see where you need to add a little bit of glitzy gold. Don't worry if you haven't got this paint, or if you haven't got acrylic paint. Just use paint that you've got to outline. I've got some pens now. I've waited for that gold paint to dry, and I've got black fine liner. I've got a couple of Uniball broad silver and gold pens, and I'm just going to make some marks on the page. So doing some little lines there between those two gold bands in that left hand corner, and going over again because I want a thicker kind of look to that, and then I'm going to outline the edges of that just to tidy that up, and just alternating the pens, little dots here and there. Just think that looks kind of cute. So you just want to be random. You don't want all one colour. You just want to think to yourself, okay, I've used the silver pen, I'll swap over to a gold pen, or I'll swap over to a white Posca pen, or whatever pens you've got. It really doesn't matter. These KURETAKE paints are really quite interesting. As you saw earlier, they just look all the same colour when you're looking at the pans. Then you add some water to them and they do some magical colour thing. So the Aurora Orange looks a bit green when you put it down on the page. The purple, the violet looks violet. But yeah, they're really quite unusual colours, and they all start with Aurora. So you've got Aurora Red, you've got Aurora Pink, Aurora Orange, Aurora Blue, and Aurora Violet. So really interesting to play with. So I've got a little squeegee bottle here, and I've got some black paint in there, some black acrylic paint. I'm just adding some dots randomly. If you haven't got a bottle like this, then you can get a very fine paintbrush and you can just dip that on really quite carefully. And then I'm using my white Posca pen here and I'm adding some lovely little dots. And then some little dots over there and dots here. So I'm going a bit dotty, a little bit dotty mad here. So yeah, really quite interesting. We were talking about the Kuretake paints. If you haven't got those, don't worry, just use your favourite paints. And just get them more or less in the same kind of colour band, I think. Or you could go crazy, you could have all sorts of different colours. But this particular painting that I've got, they're all in the same kind of area of colour, purpley, pinky kind of colours. I think that goes really well with the gold, silver and the white with the black enhancements. So if you do get to try this, maybe you can let me know what colours you use. I'd be really interested to find out. And did you use the gold, the silver, or did you go for maybe some acrylic mark making and use some really interesting colours? Yeah, it'd be really interesting to hear from you. So I do hope you get to try this, and if you like this, maybe you'll consider liking and subscribing, or maybe you'll leave me a comment. Let me know how you get on. How's your art journey going? So continuing with the black liner here, and I'm getting to that point where I'm thinking, oh, I need some more space. I need to add some more marks. Where can I add some more marks? So at some point I have to stop, and I hate that when I have to stop, especially when I'm having a really good time. So I'm trying to find any little area that needs a bit of paint lines or paint dots or any kind of marks really to put those down. I think I will try doing this again, but just using some different colours. I don't know what colours I'd use mind, but yeah, I think I'm going to give it a go because I just love filling in all these doodles. So the paint that you can see on the left-hand side, that's the gold Lumiere paint that I've used for the painting. It's a really good quality, solid-based acrylic paint. Some acrylic paints, when you try and get them in the metallics, I find are a little bit watery and go a little bit see-through. This doesn't. It really stays true to colour. And they do quite a few different variances of metallic paints. This one is called light gold. So I'm just peeling away the tape here. I've just heated up all that tape and peeling away very carefully so I don't rip any of the edges. And then just pulling it up to the camera so you can see in a little bit more detail. So I think it's worked really well. I think your eye really wanders across the page when you're looking at this, and it's really quite interesting with all that detail. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I know I have, and thanks for watching and see you soon.